A new Sandag report reveals San Diego County is home to 7,500 documented gang members and 158 gangs. Here with more on the rising concern over the evolution of local gangs are Commander Mike Barletta with the County Sheriff's Gang Suppression Unit and Sandag researcher Cynthia Burke. Welcome.
Thank you.
Cynthia, let's start with you. You collected data on local gangs through interviews of nearly 1,000 male and female arrestees. Some of those were gang members. What were some of the major findings in your survey?
You know, we found about a quarter of adults, about a third of the juveniles reported some type of affiliation with gangs. When we asked them how early did they start, it was about 13 on average, very young. They hung out with the gang about a year before they joined. Many of them had family members that were involved in gangs, and so we really found that they're getting in because of their family, because of their peers.
Let's break down that family member association a little bit. I know because of multiple family member involvement in gangs, so they may have more than one person in their family in a gang. Your survey numbers added up to a little more than 100%, with respondents reporting that 58% are cousins, 39% is a sibling, nearly a third are aunts and uncles, while a quarter have a father in a gang, and 14% of the people you talk to say their mother is in a gang member. Is this something that you can address, Cynthia, as far as prevention? Is this something that gives you more fuel to help give the law enforcement for prevention?
Well, you know, I think that there's two ways to look at it. One is that it is a high percentage of people who have that family gang. It's part of a neighborhood that they may grow up in. We were surprised that many of them were in different gangs, so it's not always the same gang and they're getting into it. Even though their parents were in the gangs or the family members, they may not be supportive of it, so family members might need resources. I think that's definitely a prevention point to be made. And then the other point we wanted to make is that, yes, a third did have family ties, but that a third also did not. So just because you may not come from a family culture does not mean that your child may not be at risk of getting into a gang.
Some interesting
and it's two ways to look at it.
Absolutely. Commander, where are the largest concentrations of gang activity in the area?
It's hard to say that there's any one large concentration. Gangs cross jurisdictional lines. There are gangs in the North County, South County, East County. They're all being addressed, and they're all creating problems for law enforcement.
And I'd like to also make the point is that we know that they're working together to a greater degree than ever before, and it's why it's so important for our sheriff works with our San Diego Police Department, other local departments, because they're not just staying in one jurisdiction.
So they're collaborating. So somebody in Chula Vista might go over to Oceanside, might go over to someplace else in Claremont, whatever, wherever.
We did one study where we looked at gang members, and they had contact with 4 or 5 different agencies. It's important for everyone to share information.
Okay. Well, a majority of the gang respondents, again in your survey, said that they carried a gun and it wasn't hard to get one. In fact, 39% said that it was very easy to get a gun. 26% called it easy, while a third said it was difficult, and just 5% said it was very difficult. So an overwhelming majority carry guns. Commander Barletta, is this evidence on the streets? Is this something you're seeing?
Absolutely. There's just a lot of guns out there, as evidenced by our collecting 900 voluntarily given up guns last weekend at a gun buyback program that we conducted.
And that's just the part they're giving up.
Exactly.
So must be easy to get them again.
Those guns are available otherwise.
Well, the report also shows that law enforcement officials are more concerned about gangs today than they are 5 years ago. I'll start with you, Cynthia. How come you think that is?
What we've heard from our law enforcement partners is that gangs are very profit-oriented. They're involved in drug distribution, prostitution, pimping, human trafficking. We had one arrestee say to us, I could sell drugs only once. I could sell a girl over and over. We also know that with changes at the state level, that people aren't serving as much time for crimes as they did before. So they might have been off the street, now they're on the street. So I think that it's a perfect storm. There's a lot of things going on.
And do you want to add anything to that as far as the growing concern? Is it the actual numbers, or is it just how they've diversified?
I think that issue of greed is key, because that's just making them more ruthless to get more and more money.
Okay. Commander, what's being done to curb gang membership and violence here throughout the county?
Well, we have 2 approaches. One is an enforcement approach, where we have a couple of gang task forces countywide, and then the other is the prevention approach, where we can deal with children to get them not to ever make the wrong choice and keep them from getting in gangs in the first place.
So prevention and enforcement. And very quickly, we'll end on this, Cynthia. Are the gangs evolving? Are they getting more involved in organized crime? And these is there evidence of that?
We do see that individuals who we talked to said that they were more likely than non-gang members to be approached about carrying drugs across the border. And again, people who are going into jails might have more contact with individuals from other organizations across jurisdictional lines with Mexico, for example. So yes, we are seeing that.
All right, so thank you both so much for joining us. I want to let folks know that they can see the entire gang survey and read a lot more about this on our website, kpbs.org. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.